Welcome to Wrestling Hill Talk. I'm your host, Heckin' Steve. We got Brian, Roger, the Guru, Will, Calvin, King P, Dr. Nick, and of course Ben Bowman, the tag champ in the house. How's everybody doing this week?
Good.
Doing
Great.
great, but
Doing all right.
I don't.
Awesome.
I don't think we've been heel talk for like 6 months though. I think we're just top rope talk. So,
Yeah, I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of just did what I used to do. So.
It's all good. It's all good.
But Kev unfortunately is
crazy.
sick right now, so he asked me to fill in. That's why I'm here. Well, also because I didn't have anything else going on today, so I was like, hey, jump in with the boys, talk some wrestling, talk about a lot of stuff that happened this week. You guys coming back from the wrestling convention, SummerSlam happened, preseason football is going on. I don't know if anybody wants to talk about that either, but there is sure a lot of stuff to talk about. So, who wants to take over and get us started here? Talk about your experience at the convention.
well, I think the format
like
we've
last-
got right now is roundtable. So
Mhm.
we go roundtable first. So everybody's question was the same this week. I know it kind of got out late to everybody, but my question for everybody individually is: what is your favorite Monday Nitro moment? What is your favorite Monday Nitro moment? So we can start with Steven and just kind of go down the line. Steven, what's your favorite Monday Nitro moment?
You know, it'd be kind of hard for me to pinpoint one of those right now. I haven't seen Nitro since I was a young buck. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to answer that for Nitro.
All right, Brian.
Sorry about that.
I would have to say most favorite and most shocking would be when Shane McMahon appeared on Nitro and essentially bought Nitro. So you've seen them both on obviously USA Network and TNT. So I think that was one of the best moments.
That's a good one.
Do you think
just
we'll
pissed Roger
see? Do you think we'll see Shane on AEW?
I hope not.
I know that's a rumor right now.
And they're saying
I
his
think-
name's going to change too. Shane something, Shane Bane, or I don't know.
I think if they do that, it needs to be as a creative back in the back. Not seeing, I don't think he needs to be in the ring.
And I literally think if they do that, that's a shot directly at WWE. I think that's game on.
From what I understand, he's gonna be working with Christopher Daniels on the the booking side, creative side of it.
Oh, he's going to want to wrestle, dude.
Kind of shameful, I think, for him to do that myself. But I mean, I've seen crazier things. Roger, what's your favorite Nitro moment?
I was actually going to say the same thing Brian did about how Shane came in, just because of how it was tagged together, where you had Shane on one side and Vince on the other, and Shane was telling Vince, "You don't own it, I do."
Gotcha.
I thought that was so much as a shocking moment, as Brian so eloquently put it, but a thing of, wow, okay, here we go. Now it's going to be something else. And then it just went downhill from there. But yeah,
How
to
about
me,
the
that
Guru?
was it.
How about the Guru, Manuel? What you got?
Mine, we kind of talked about it last night in the chat. I mean, I know you guys said he's according to Brian, he's a dickhead. But mine,
Just me.
no, not you, but I mean, I'm a promo guy, so anything Scott Steiner was just shocking for me because you never know what the fuck he's gonna say. But my favorite was when he, the DDP feud, when he told her, he has the, DDP's defending her honor, and I got the honor to get honor and offer. As a kid, I was like, what?
Right.
I was like, man, this guy is talking about doing another man's wife, and I love this dude, man. I mean, just as a kid, man, you're watching and you're like, does this really happen in real life? But I mean, he also said some stuff that, didn't make any sense, but I mean, that's just who he was. So anything Scott Steiner promo wise was just shocking for me.
Yeah, he also recently said he never ever did one steroid.
And he did. And I believe him.
You do?
Yeah, you can't,
Believe him.
Yeah,
can't say you
those were
never
just
did that.
vitamins.
I believe him. He also said
Calvin.
he would take
Go
a.
ahead.
He also said he would take a drug test in WWE if Triple H would take one too.
Yep.
And then they never asked him again.
They arrest him again. So
Calvin, what you got?
So
I don't remember the pay-per-view, but it happened on Monday Night Raw afterwards where Nash was World Heavyweight Champion. Hogan done the little finger poke,
On the finger poke.
pinned him, and won the belt back.
Yeah, so the pay-per-view was when Nash beat Goldberg at Starrcade 98. And then the finger poke of doom was that following Monday Nitro when Hogan made his big return, and they thought it was going to kind of be like the battle of the NWOs, but instead they just reformed the NWOs. So finger poke of doom was a huge moment in WCW, not necessarily in a good way, but it was a huge moment. Mr. Phil, what you got?
So mine would be whenever Scott Hall popped up and invaded WCW. I didn't know at the time whether it was like what was going on. That's Razor Ramon. Why is he on WCW? But I'm not gonna change the channel until I figure out what's going on. So from that moment on, I was already watching. I watched WCW first before WWF, to be honest. But from that moment is when I really started to really deep dive into wrestling and figure out like, okay, this is more than just, WCW had wrestling going on. WWF had entertainment going on plus good wrestling. That was like when they blurred the lines and I really didn't know what was going on. So that was like a moment that hooked me for life pretty much.
So have you always been in the area that you're in now, or did you relocate there?
No, I've always pretty much. I mean, I've lived 30 minutes away my whole life. So I moved 30 minutes down the road.
It's just so unusual that you're in that area, but watch WCW more than WWF. Because WWF was so, global at the time. WCW was so regional, even all the way up to like 93, 94.
Right. I used to watch the pay-per-view. Like I would get those tapes, and watch WWF. But my granddad was watching WCW on Saturday nights. So I would catch WCW on Saturday nights, and then I would watch the tapes and rent the movies and stuff from the Tidal Wave or Blockbuster or whatever it was. And
so chances are your grandpa was probably an old NWA fan before he was WCW.
Yeah, he could have been.
Yep, that's awesome, man. That's great. I actually started too watching WCW and WWF with my grandpa. So that's awesome. Glad to hear that. Dr. Nick in the house. What's your favorite Nitro moment?
I actually just saw it again, and it was just such a funny moment. Sid had so many funny promos, but this was actually at the end of a Nitro, September 23rd, 99. He opens the door, and it was such bad acting, but it was so funny because it was coming from him. He goes, "Oh my God!" and the camera pans to his car, and it's flattened. "What did you do to my car, Goldberg?" He just starts yelling, and it's almost as bad. Yeah, it's almost as bad as that scene from Seven, where what's in the box? But he was just like, "What happened to my car?" I remember watching it for the first time and just cracking up because, Sid did that promo where, I have half the brain that you do, just some of the shit that would come out of his mouth. And that for me just stuck out because it was so comedic.
That was 25 years ago, and he's just as dumb now as he was then, trust me.
Yeah, good old softball Sid.
Yeah. No, I mean literally, we just saw him this past weekend.
Ben knows about that.
He's dumb now. Hell, he might even be dumber now if that's possible. But I don't know. I love the guy in ring. I love the talent. The guy himself. Whew,
yeah,
he's not intelligent, but good call. Good call. Ben, what do you got?
Man, woo! By God, Gene. Any of those with flair, but I'm going to stick to my favorite moment was when they reunited the Four Horsemen. When they, Arn Anderson goes, "Oh, I'm a goof. There's one left." And then that's when Ric Flair comes out. They show it there. The heat between Flair and Bischoff during that time. Probably one of my favorite moments that you can go back and rewatch. And
What are you gonna do? Fire me? I'm already fired.
Yeah.
Live from
right.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
What's up, Robert Burdick in the comments? Welcome in. So there's so
Robert?
many great moments that you could really pinpoint on Nitro, but another great moment that I'm really surprised nobody mentioned was when Kevin Nash arrived in Nitro. I heard Phil talk about Scott Hall coming in. A couple weeks later, Kevin Nash comes in, standing behind Eric Bischoff, and I think to this day, out of all the WCW Nitro moments, it would have to be that moment for me when Nash come in. You knew it was something was about to happen. You didn't know what, because we didn't have internet to ruin everything back then, but you knew something badass was about to happen. And of course, led to the formation of NWO and led to so many other things. But I think for me, the fact that he comes in and he's standing behind Bischoff up on the stage, and Bischoff screaming at Scott Hall, "Where is it? Where's your big surprise?" And Hall's just kind of pointing behind them, and Nash snatches the microphone, starts talking, and what a huge moment. But if you go back and you watch some of those, there's so many big moments that you don't even think about. There was world title changes.
Mm-hmm.
There was people coming in, people going out. Paul Orndorff's final, wrestling moments were on Nitro, and the Horsemen attack him because, he doesn't want to be sidelined with an injury. He doesn't want to go out with an injury and just say, he got it permanently injured. He wanted it to look kayfabe and have the Horsemen, beat the living hell out of him so he could go out, with his neck injury. So many different things. Lex Luger winning the world title, Lex Luger's first appearance, Macho Man. I don't know for sure, and this is debatable, but I don't know for sure that there was ever a better Macho Man in the history of wrestling than what was on Monday Nitro. Because if you go back and watch some of his WWF stuff, there's some great stuff. But if you watch the first probably 8 or 10 months of Nitro and the Macho Man, he's like the star of Nitro. He really is. Prior to the NWO, he's a star of Nitro. Sting, all the stuff going on with Sting and Lex and Harlem Heat, those were some classic matches. Of course, Steiner's coming back, Hawk coming back, from the LOD. A lot of great moments. So I would encourage you guys, after we finish the Raw rewatch, or if you're not doing a Raw rewatch, to go and sit down and just watch yourself a random episode of Nitro. You'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And nostalgia alone, you'll enjoy. So what's up, Richard?
What's up, Rich?
I actually did think of one after you guys all went. I wasn't really a huge fan of Goldberg, so I always wanted to see him lose. And the moment when Bret Hart had the steel plate on and he speared him, I really enjoyed that moment. And then I'm kind of surprised that nobody mentioned Rey Mysterio getting darted into the trailer.
Well,
there was a few moments that didn't get mentioned tonight, but there was definitely some great moments in time from Nitro. But yeah, you're right. Ray going into the trailer. If Kev Buckler was here, I guarantee you that's what he would have picked, because we've talked about that to no end. What a great moment. It was so believable that the neighbors behind the studios were calling 911 because they thought there was a gang war happening back there.
Another ones I'm surprised we didn't mention was the world title changes, as Lex Luger beating Hogan when Luger should have held the title for a whole lot longer, and then also when Goldberg in the Georgia Dome beat Hogan. Yep. Those were probably two incredible. And hell, you just talked about Macho Man. Macho beating Ric Flair early in that in the late 95, 96, winning the title on Nitro. It'll be 96.
And Giant beat Flair on Nitro for the world title as well. So, like I said, there's a lot of world title changes on Nitro that didn't really get mentioned. But there's so much history there that it's hard to mention them all. So. All right, what's next on our agenda?
It says question for Will.
Okay. Let's keep it to 3 tonight so we can be in the mercy of time.
You can skip me then.
Yeah, you skip me as well since I'm just filling in, I'm a substitute.
How about the Guru? Guru always has some good questions.
I can think of one. So what could the faction, the Flock, have been if they really got pushed in WCW?
The problem is with in my opinion with the faction is you needed a stronger leader than Raven. Raven had been, Johnny Polo, WWF. He was okay in ECW, but he was not um, leadership material. I think had you put, a Kevin Sullivan or an older school guy to lead that group, Kevin Sullivan had kind of phased out from the Dungeon of Doom by that point. Or even if you had put, a Chris Jericho, a good front man, a good talker to really build it up, I think you could have seen a much bigger organization there, especially when you had the NWO going and you had some other factions going. You started to have that faction warfare in both WCW and in WWE or WWF at the time. The problem is nobody wanted to hear Raven talk. I liked a lot of his promos, but nobody wanted to hear him talk. Sitting there, quote the Raven, nevermore, and nobody else on his entire squad was a talker. I mean, even later on, 2000, you had Billy Kidman, kind of trying to push him up to be a main event guy, but the guy couldn't talk. He wasn't a talker. So again, if you had a good front man, I mean, imagine if you put Paul Heyman with the Flock. I mean, you
Right.
get somebody out there that can talk for them, and you got a total different situation.
Because that was my favorite Raven, was the Flock Raven, just because which I was a Raven fan even when he was Johnny Polo. So for me, I enjoyed the Flock. I thought that some of the talent they had ended up being, Billy Kidman ended up being pretty good talent. Big, Reese,
Yep.
Saturn at one point. But I mean, I thought that, like you said, when you sit back and think about it, back then, if you didn't really understand promos, you thought Raven did a really great promo.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't understand him, you thought he did a really great promo. Which,
But
yeah, I
if
mean,
you
he had
watch him now,
yeah,
terrible, absolutely terrible. You didn't even know what the hell he was talking. It was like watching the Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior was so exciting when he would run to the ring and get in the ring, but when you listen to him on the microphone, you're like, what the hell did that guy just say?
I mean, the only
You know,
thing you really
it-
understood was quote the Raven nevermore, which was catchy.
yeah,
But I mean, I just
yeah.
I just always wondered if it could have been a better faction if it had the proper backing.
You had everything you needed talent wise. Raven was extremely talented. He had quite a few talents. Look at Riggs was in there.
Yeah,
Sick Boy. I mean, a lot. Van Hammer at one point. There's a lot of good people in that faction. They just couldn't get it over because the fans couldn't buy into it. Like you never saw anybody run around with Raven and Flock T-shirts because they were like they didn't know what the hell they were supporting. I think that was the big thing. All right, how about Dr. Nick? What you got?
So, with the return of the rightful tribal chief, Roman Reigns, at SummerSlam,
You mean other than me?
yeah.
Right. I knew
It
what you
may
meant.
be, a handful of years before he calls it quits. It may be, less than 5. Who knows? Who do you think would be a good last opponent for him?
Mm. Man, that is so tough. It's so difficult because, Cena's pretty much gone. I know he's got his tour coming, but he's pretty much gone. Punk, I don't see being in there long term. I think Punk's going to get a couple years. Um, Probably Rollins. I think they'll probably kind of go out at the same time, but I think Roman is done a whole lot sooner than Rollins will be. So that is super tough. Maybe Braun Breaker. I see Braun Breaker being a potential new face of the company. He's such a breakout star right now. A lot of these guys that are in there right now are kind of, on their last wind, I think. And, Roman, I think you have maybe 3 years, maybe. And I think you're done. Usos, pretty much the same thing. Solo, I think you have a good probably 10-year span with Solo and some of the other ones. I think you'll see for a while, but I don't think Roman hangs around as a manager. I don't think he hangs around as a mouthpiece. I think when he's done, and he moves on, and probably most likely goes to Hollywood, and he's out there with The Rock and Cena and all those guys. I absolutely think you're going to see Roman And what was that movie with The Rock where he's hanging off the building skyscraper?
Yeah.
I think like Skyscraper Part 47, I think stars Roman Reigns. So, obviously that's a joke, but I highly think you're going to see him follow that path.
Good answer.
One more? Anybody? Phil? Ben? Anybody? Go ahead.
Ben, go ahead.
Go ahead.
With rumors that I'm seeing around lately, that you got some top talents all of a sudden with now no creative control. There's no more usage for them. Like, for example, they're talking about Bobby Lashley's contract ends, I think, this weekend or very soon. And MVP's already ended. Of course, we talked about it in the past that they don't utilize, big, talent that they should be, like Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles. What is your opinion that WWE and AEW, what can they do different to utilize these big name talents and then get them a push and get them a run? Because like hell, you look at Bobby Lashley, he has the physique. I'm sure you could put him, get him either somebody can talk or him talk, and still have him a push. He should right now should be in that title hunt against Gunther and Cody Rhodes. And what's your opinion on these lack of creative control, not helping these big name stars?
So anytime any of those guys lose their jobs, it's 100% the fault of the writer. It's not their fault. The talent didn't change. Their physique didn't change. It's the writer. So, it's always been forever that the talent would get blamed. We don't have any work for you because we can't get you over. You know what I mean? The problem is not theirs. The problem is the writers run other things to write for them. And then, they put them in these stupid storylines that nobody wants to see, nobody cares about. And then when they run through those storylines, they're like, well, now we gave you such a shitty storyline, it's hard to put you in a title match. Lashley is one of those people that should never, ever be anywhere without a job. That dude should be employed somewhere all the time, if for nothing else, but just his physique and his look, because he's such a badass, I even heard Natalya and some other ones. I know Natalya ended up resigning, but I heard Natalya and some other ones, their contracts were expiring. They didn't know what was going to happen. Becky Lynch, same thing. Nobody really knows what's going on with her, kind of hiatus and all that. I think you've got to really look at the writing part of it and see what can be done different there. You shouldn't be writing these folks off TV. I just saw Chief live from Las Vegas commented that the buffet line is huge in WWE, meaning that they're all sitting around and catering because they're not getting their TV time. It's not that they don't have enough hours on TV, because they have more hours on TV now than they ever have in the history. So it's literally a matter of writing. Bobby Lashley should never be unemployed. MVP as a mouthpiece should never be unemployed. What a tremendous freaking talent. That guy,
Hurt Business.
He should, at minimum, he should be a commentator. Go get rid of, the NFL guy. I can't think of his name right off the bat.
Pat McAfee.
Put McAfee back over on his own show and put MVP on there. There's so many good mouthpieces right now. That if you're going to use McAfee, put him on the pay-per-view. Put him on WrestleMania. Put him on SummerSlam, whatever. But you don't need him on SmackDown. You don't need him on any of that stuff. Look at Booker T. He's another tremendous commentator and a tremendous talent. And you've got him on these pre-shows for SummerSlam and the pay-per-views. He should be somebody that's commentating all the time. Like, he should be a Monday Night Raw guy. Even, your top guys right now that are still commentating, some of those guys need to take a back seat to some of this talent, because there's nothing better than having a former, world champion commentating and calling a match than there is, some of these guys you've never even heard of. So,
I mean, they just hired Joe Tessitore.
Yep.
They just hired Joe Tessitore. I'd way rather have Pat McAfee than Joe Tessitore.
Who in the fuck is that?
Well, you got
Monday Night Football.
You never heard? He calls football games. He calls boxing matches.
Yep.
He'll be fine.
I'm
You
not.
got
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Pat. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Pat. I'm just saying I would push him
well,
out in lieu of a Bobby Lashley. I would push him out in lieu of an MVP. Some of these other
I mean,
guys. You know.
me personally, I do not
well,
watch Monday Night Raw. Me personally,
There's two I'll push out. I'll push out Wade Barrett and Corey Graves.
I watch Monday
Yeah.
Night Raw just for Pat
well,
McAfee when it's on,
well. You
just for
got
him.
you've got Booker T down on NXT, but the kicker here is you got MVP talking to I can't remember the guy's name. Used to be a UFC fighter. He has his own wrestling
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. Thank you.
Josh
Talking about
Barnett.
going to Barnett to Bloodsport, and there's talk that he's bringing Bobby Lashley with him,
Yeah. Could be.
and they're going to start up the Hurt business again down there.
I mean, you were talking about the top talent. Look what AJ Styles just did. He was in Japan and put on 3 classic matches. They were talking about like it's one of the best matches some of them seen in 10 years because the guy can work.
That's
I mean, I feel like
because they don't let AJ perform like AJ. That's the
I agree.
problem. They water him down.
Oh man, I agree. TNA AJ Styles was unmatched.
So why is he not holding a world title right now and hasn't for 6
I think
years?
because Triple H doesn't know how to use him.
I think it's
you
all
have
about
to
his
let
brother.
AJ Styles be AJ Styles. You
I
truly
think
have to.
everybody's taking my Pat McAfee comment personal. I'm not
No, I'm
personally
not.
saying get rid of Pat. Well, I just saw a comment pop up that everybody
Oh,
loves Pat. I'm not saying necessarily you have to get rid of Pat, but I'm saying you need to
no.
work guys like that out in lieu of putting in people like Lashley, putting in people like MVP, Booker T, a lot of these tremendous talents, that could call matches and know exactly
Yeah.
what's going on. That's my point. Pat McAfee was just a name and an example, not necessarily do we need to
No, I,
fire him and all that.
I
But
agree with you. You could bring in MVP and put MVP in there and it'd be successful. I agree 100%.
well, and since when do you have a limit that you can only put 2 commentators on a table or 3 commentators on the table? I mean, in the history of wrestling, we've seen half a dozen at some point. So, I mean, even back in 92, 93, hell, they used to alternate. You guys may or may not remember that, but they used to alternate. Like the commentators, like an hour and a half into the show, would take a break, and alternate commentators would come in and commentate matches. So, and if you don't believe that, go back and watch some pay-per-views from 92, 93, and it happened frequently. So it would
Maybe.
to put
I think it
Lashley
could be.
out without a job, to me, is like having the Macho Man being a commentator and then telling them, we don't want you wrestling and now we don't want you commentating because we really don't have anything for you, but we're going to keep you on the payroll. That just made no sense. Macho was a tremendous commentator, even tremendous talent too, but that's the same exact situation as putting a Lashley and some of these other guys out of work. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think some of it probably is they may not want to commentate.
Maybe not. Maybe
Like,
they don't. Maybe they
I
don't.
know
And that,
MVP made the comment that he still has a lot. He still has some left in the tank.
and that's okay if they
And
don't
that's
want
why
to.
he's going.
Right.
But
That's why he wants
then
to go
you
to Bloodsport.
find a use for them because there's a lot of brand new talent in NXT that needs guidance and needs managers, and you have room on the payroll. You literally just got absorbed by TKO, and your payroll just expanded by probably 100% in reality if you think about it. You're talking about record gate sales on WrestleManias, record ticket sales, record, sales on Peacock. All these records you're breaking and you're cutting talent. You
Right.
can't tell me your budget has shrunk from where it's been. You've got to
New
keep these
Netflix
folks.
deal.
Well,
Yeah,
and two,
exactly. And how can you be releasing any of these people? It doesn't make sense to me.
Because they
well,
can't use.
to real quick to add on to what Will's saying, and we've talked about this before. Look back at Monday Night Raw. Everybody had a damn story. Years ago, during the Attitude Era and previous, didn't matter who you were.
Yeah.
Didn't matter if you were Naked Midian, Jericho. Didn't matter. Everybody had a story, and it wasn't every week. Sometimes you know, obviously the big one was Austin and McMahon, and then they have Taker and Kane, stuff like that. But like the third week of March, guess what, Shamrock? You're going to be out there and beat the crap out of Steve Blackman. That's your story for this month. So for them to use the excuse, you know, we don't have enough hours. They do. They have multiple hours. I mean, Raw used to be 1 hour, and then it was 2. You have 3 hours every single week on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and you know, and then
it
you know,
it comes down to your quality of your riders and your booking right now, and you don't have it.
But because of that, but my point of being with all of that is, you cannot release these people and get rid of them because of where the riders have failed them. That's my point. You can't write them off and let contracts expire because riders have failed them. Now, some people are going to want to be done. They're going to want to go home. They're going to want to try different things in life and everything else. But there should always be an open door for these folks. I mean, there's so many jobs there that you should never have a talent that's out of work that doesn't want to be out of work. Is my
oh yeah, there's a lot of good mentoring that a lot of them guys could do.
I think some of it is the wrong man's running the company.
I think the issue with the writing staff right now is they're following like a format. Like, so you can't have people like Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley get big storylines right now because the focus is on smaller dudes like Cody and Solo and Sammy. I mean, Gunther's really like the only big dude that I could think of that was on SummerSlam. So I think it has to do with format. Like, they don't want big ass Bobby Lashley, which is like a bodybuilder, in a storyline with somebody, and then that make the main event scene where it's like 2 smaller dudes look like they shouldn't be there because, well, why the hell isn't Bobby Lashley there? He's like a Terminator. You know what I mean?
Well,
so I think
Raw,
format. I think it's like a sizing issue.
The feud
you're going to have Bronson
really,
Reed versus Seth.
The feud we never really truly got and really got our money's worth out of it was Lashley and Lesnar. That feud right there was so tremendous that, you know, you never really got any potential out of that. And that's where they should be. Those guys, you know, both deserve to have.
I wanted Samoa Joe and Lesnar.
Yeah,
they screwed up letting Samoa Joe go, put him in a stupid commentator spot.
But instead, with Joe, as much as I remember, most of their matches were like 3-ways or 4-ways.
Yeah,
you know, so you didn't really get that contact that you're looking for between those guys. But you know, there's a lot. We could literally debate this for an hour plus. I think you have to just make sure you take care of your folks, and doing that, you should never have anybody unemployed that wants a job. As a matter of fact, we know a guy that we've worked with several times. I'm not going to mention any names, as a talent that has done everything but beg to come back and work, you know, helping young talent, helping write and everything else. He's been to many shows with us as a talent of ours. And as far as I know, every time he's had the opportunity, they've turned him down. So, and he has a tremendous mind for the business. So, and he's from a very, very well-known wrestling family. I can tell you that too. So,
I blame Paul Levesque.
I don't know. I think Triple H is doing a good job.
Paul has a lot of people to answer to, though.
Hey, just real quick before we move on to the next thing, but you know, I know you guys are saying about a 3-hour show and stuff, but do you think women matches have been taken away from some of these other people that aren't getting?
No, I don't think so, but I do think you should still go after that market of an all-women show, like on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night or whatever night of the week you want to do it. I really think you should do, hell, even if you only did it for an hour or maybe 2, I still think you should have an all-women show where, you know, what a missed opportunity for all these years. It doesn't have to be, a long-term thing if it doesn't work out. But I think you could do, even if you did a once a month special, like they used to do Saturday night's main event on NBC. If you did a once a month special of just all women, I
Well,
think you're still
Yeah.
missing the
well,
ball
they
there.
did that Evolution and it flopped bad.
Bring back
Yeah.
Sunday Night Heat.
They
I
did
felt
that
like Evolution
women's
was successful
Evolution.
though.
See, I watched. I mean, even Stephanie was like, it wasn't the greatest.
Well,
It
they
could have been
still do that tournament every year. The
Queen of the
Mae
Ring.
Young, no, the Mae
Yeah,
Young
Mae Young
tournament.
Classic.
That one goes well every time.
There's
Yeah.
enough following. You don't have to have Nielsen ratings are not really a thing anymore like they used to be. You don't really have to have all that stuff. So I think even if you did it straight on Peacock or straight on Netflix, once a week or bi-weekly, even once a month, I still think you need an all women's talent show. And I think that would take a lot of that back out of the main lineup too. But I also think it would give them the opportunity to showcase themselves. And you could have, SmackDown, Raw, NXT, anybody you want, all mixed into one show, and you're going to get a lot more out of it.
Especially with the evolution of the women's division over the past 5-10 years.
I can tell you, there's been many, many pay-per-view events that the women's matches were better than the men's matches. So,
Yeah.
Money in the Bank.
yep. All right,
Yeah,
guys, we
Especially
got to
last
move
year's
on.
Mania.
We've got to move on. We're running out of time. Where are we at next? I think it's convention talk and then show and tell, right?
That is correct.
All right. Brian,
You know, you-
what were your thoughts on the convention, on the show?
I liked it. I mean, obviously I had fun with you guys. That was the main reason for me going. I didn't have to get much done, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was, I think some days were worse than others there. I think it was, some days were more organized and some days were more cluster. But I had a good time meeting the talent that we had, and I had a good time, meeting obviously Jerry Lawler, and I got a chance to go with Ben to meet a Big Show, and yeah, it was a good time overall. But like I said, the best part was hanging out with the boys. So
and meeting this talent, right?
and meeting meeting Kingfish Steven.
That's right.
Kingfish.
Kingfish.
That sounds terrible.
Roger, what were your thoughts?
Unfortunately, again, I gotta agree with the little dickhead. I think there was
Brian didn't deserve that.
some parts. Oh, you've missed a lot, Stevie. You've missed a lot. I think there was some parts that were a clusterfuck. Overall, I think it was good. I got to meet most of the talent that I wanted to meet. It was a joy, extreme joy hanging out with you guys. But we all go there to meet certain talent that we want to meet and get autographs and such for our collections. Yep. And I think that there could have been a little bit more order, or at least a little bit more information put out as to how they would be doing things in certain areas. But other than that, I mean, for me, of course, I really don't. I should caveat all that with saying it was my first convention, so I went in there not knowing what to expect, but expecting good things, and I got good things out of it. So overall, it was a good experience for me. But again, the main thing was hanging out with you guys and meeting the talent that I was looking forward to meeting, and getting my Holy Grail, my one Holy Grail, and my other pieces that I wanted signed by some talent that I'll probably never see again.
Good deal. Now, Manuel Guru, I know you weren't able to make it there with us. Would you like to chime in and talk about a different convention, or would you like to use a couple minutes of this time to discuss anything else?
Except for how Triple H sucks.
Well, I can talk all day about that. I wasn't a fan of SummerSlam. Let's say that.
Okay.
I just for me, I just wasn't. I was only excited about a couple matches. I mean, LA Knight, of course. I was happy that he won.
Yeah.
I was excited for Roman, of course, but that's it. I mean,
There's a lot of title changes, a lot more than I thought there would be.
I mean, my favorite part of it was when I seen the credits at the bottom when it was going off. I just thought it was, the card was lackluster in some spots. I thought you could have done some. I mean, it was like too much talking in between matches, too much. I want to watch pay-per-view. I want to see him wrestle. I don't want to see. If I want to see a bunch of talking, I'll go to like an indie show, or I just thought it had too much downtime. Too much, backstage segments and, coming out and talking and just, saying, random stuff. I just thought it was too much downtime, not enough.
So keep in mind with everything that you're saying right now, they want to eventually make that into a 2-day show.
Oh God, oh man. I mean,
Maybe they could fit Bobby Lashley on there if they get 2 days.
Mania 2 days is enough for me, which I'm not a fan of 2-day Mania either. But 2 days SummerSlam, I mean, come on.
I'd rather watch a 6-hour event than a 2 days. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Chief just said in the comments, he said, kind of digressing back to Brian and the guys, other than the gentleman that we brought in as our signers, as our guests, who was your favorite talent to meet there? Brian, who was your favorite talent to meet there?
I'd probably say Jerry the King Lawler.
Jerry
I never
Lawler.
met him before. Yeah, go ahead.
Roger, who was your favorite talent to meet at the show?
For me, it's twofold for two different reasons. One was Jerry the King Lawler, obviously. The other was personal for me, Greg the Hammer Valentine, because he signed a picture of mine that was actually taken of me and him when I was in Afghanistan. And we all have our stories about how Greg the Hammer Valentine's a dick when you meet him and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, oh, this is so cool. And he was showing it off to his handler and to the other wrestlers around saying, look, I was in Afghanistan. See, I was with this guy. And everybody's like, that's you? And of course, I've changed a little over the years, but I was like, yeah, that's me. And they were like, well, when was that? And it's like 2007. And they're like, so you're talking 17 years ago and you got this? I was like, yeah.
Yep.
And he signed it and he's like, thank you. I'm glad you made it back. And it was just a great moment. So for me, those were my two.
That's major.
Good deal. Ben.
That's great.
Ben, who was your favorite that you met there?
I didn't get to venture out a lot. So I'd say as for overall the talent we brought, that probably was my favorite.
Okay. I would say my favorite out of all of them was Al Perez. Believe it or not, I mean, obviously I love seeing Jerry. There's just nothing that compares. The only thing that compares to seeing Jerry at a show is seeing Ric Flair at a show. That's the only thing that compares. And we could debate that, but it's just the reality of it. Meeting the Big Show was cool, and we talked a little bit about my item that I completed at the show. But, it was just like meeting any other talent. It wasn't anything spectacular, Sid was an ass like everybody kind of expected. So that was just, is what it is. That's just his personality. But Al Perez and I sat there and had a conversation, and Ben was, I don't remember where, Ben might have went to get something to eat or drink, or I don't know where the hell Ben went, but Ben was busy doing something, and I was covering the table. And there was an older lady. She was like 77 years old or something like that. And she came over to the table, and, she said, I remember watching you in WCCW, and she was so excited to meet Al. And she carried on this conversation with him. She was there all alone. And, man, she was so excited. And he was so excited to have met her way more than she was to have met him. And she asked how much a picture was to take a picture with Al. And we told her, and she said, that's good. I have $20 left to spend here today, and I want to spend it taking a picture with you. So Al got up. We took pictures with her and him together. And then I told Al, I said, you need to sign her a picture to her and give it to her. And he thought that was a wonderful idea because, again, she was in her 70s and, she was there. She had spent her money on the talents. And, what a tremendous opportunity. First of all, to take care of somebody that's the people you reach out and take care of. This lady came over there, literally dug through her change purse and came up with $20 to get a picture taken. But she stood there, no joke, for at least 15 minutes. If you were to talk to Al, I'm sure he would remember every second of it. That to me made the show. That to me really, truly made the show. Taking care of people like that, seeing how excited she was. She wasn't expecting to get the autograph photo. And, super cool. So, I don't think it's my turn. I think it's Calvin's turn, but I'm going to go since I'm kind of in the middle here. Another thing I will say is, how can I put this? Sometimes when you have talent with you, you explain to them the things that you need them to do for you and how you need them to do it. And some of the guys get it right away and some of them don't. I would say make all expectations perfectly clear up front when you're bringing in a talent, and you'll never have an issue. I'll throw that part out there. Some of you guys will know what I mean. Some of you guys won't, and that's okay. But Calvin, a couple minutes. You got anything to cover? I know you didn't make it to the show, but anything to cover?
I mean, I guess cover SummerSlam, which, I'm with Manuel, it wasn't the greatest. I mean, obviously WWE had to pull one out when Jacob Fatu got hurt, but I mean, it's obvious that everything was going to happen the way it was. It's obvious Finn was going to turn on Damian, Dominic done what he done. But, I mean, at least LA Knight won the U.S. title.
Good deal. King Philip. Phil.
I just got a couple things. For one, I enjoyed SummerSlam actually. 4 title changes is crazy. LA Knight got his. It was a pretty good match. Damian, I'm ready for Gunther to be the world heavyweight champion. Damian's run was great, but it's time for the ring general to get his. CM Punk lost. That was the best part of the night for me. But my question is, when is the next convention that we're all going to?
Well, I think it's kind of up in the air right now, but I know there's one in October that we're going to do here locally that a bunch of us are working on. And then behind that, I'm not 100% positive, but there's a bunch of good stuff coming up. So we'll continue to discuss it in the upcoming weeks and kind of lay some plans out there. So let me ask you this question, though, because you seem the most suited, kind of like me, like you dig in and dive in, and sometimes we overthink this stuff. But do you think that LA Knight beats his opponent there for the U.S. title? I don't even want to say his name. For the U.S. title over his controversial tweet?
I don't think so. I think Logan Paul's time. I think it was time. He's had a nice run. Prime has been the ring sponsor for however long now. He only had 2 defenses. Undertaker said he brought back some meaning to the title. I mean, I don't know if he really brought back a whole lot more meaning than John Cena's run when he was U.S. champion, but it was time for him to go ahead and drop it to somebody else. I don't think
John Cena's run in 2015 as U.S. champion was terrible. That was just the biggest waste of time ever. So, but I definitely understand what you mean. Dr. Nick, I know you didn't make it to the show, but anything you want to cover real quick?
Yeah, just a reminder, August 30th coming up. Tickets for Squared Circle Expo and the vendor sales will be on sale.
Can't wait.
And for those who have been, you know how good it is there. Hopefully, Roger and everybody else can make it. Trust me, it is very organized. I will tell you that. It's organized. Tons of talent. It's not like, oh, where's the line? They hire plenty of people to guide everybody where to go. There's no real big interruptions. Because I've been to Comic-Cons before. Those things were clusterfucks. And I mean, for a big company that operates those, I've been to 3 of them, and every single one of them was just chaos. And but yeah, I'm glad y'all had a good time. Always a good time to hang out with the brothers. So I'm definitely looking forward to the next time I get to see y'all.
The only thing I'll say is I hope to God we're getting compensated by that convention since we just put them over so strongly. Hope we're getting some compensation, commercial time or something. But honestly, I've got to where I'm very particular in what I will say and what I won't say anymore. Like, a lot of the guys kept referring to the convention in Charlotte by the name, and I got to the point where I just kept saying the convention in Charlotte. If you guys go back and listen to what I was talking to, or if you follow me, I'm to the point where I don't believe in putting people over that don't put you over, and I'm all about talking about the city. Hell, I love Indianapolis, and I've been to every one of their shows so far. Charlotte, I mean, how are you not gonna like Charlotte? How can you not like it? But I'm done putting conventions over, so I will put over the name of the city. Just my personal opinion. I'll put over the name of the city.
Understandable.
But I won't put over the name of the promoters, and I won't put over the name of the event. So, just my personal opinion. Ben Bowman, wrap us up on the show because we got some show and tell to get to.
Yeah. As for our side, the show was a success. Enjoyed every bit of the talent. Loved Al, Eric, and Lynn. Great three legends. Like I said, we were able to get a few extra items signed. So if by chance you missed out on pre-orders or wasn't at the show, we do have a few extra, not much.
Not many. I don't have. I have less than a handful, so not many.
Yeah, guys that they personally told us they might not do many shows, or that might have been their last one. So I would invest in those. Also, too, if you go to a show, I would suggest you go right now. If there's somebody you've been dying to see, go do it. I know we get on here and bitch about the prices, which the prices are astronomical or ridiculous. But if there's one person or a talent that you really want to go see, I would go do it.
It's not bitching if it's facts. It's not bitching if it's facts.
That's true. But this one, I'm gonna get the props. I didn't see any raised prices for premium items, so everything was paid about the same. I didn't experience any upcharges, but I did notice, like I said, when like what I was meaning before then about going to see the talent you want to see is because they're we grew up watching them. They're legends. Some of them don't look the best, and I would say, hey, do it now while you can before it gets worse. But that's all I got.
All right. Well, let's roll into show and tell because we are running out of time rapidly. Steven, you got anything for show and tell this week?
I do not, man. I have been broke as a joke, but it ain't funny.
Gotcha.
I am wanting to get back into buying some more wrestling stuff soon. For a while, I've been focusing on video games, and I'm still doing that too. But I need some new stuff for the wrestling collection.
Well, since you don't have anything for show and tell, I'll say, even if you're not buying, guys, definitely come hang out, check out, talk to us, look at the items. Check this stuff out. You don't have to purchase. Just come hang out, say hello, spend time with your friends. That's what counts. So, Mr. Brian, what do you got?
All right. Well, I'm gonna show my non-Charlotte stuff first. So
okay,
I got this from William Hillbilly Jim. Something you can get in a live. Bob Backlund.
Nice,
Bobby.
Then I got some promo galore. I got OG promo Randy Orton.
Nice.
Juan Cena. And then the best one, Earthquake.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And then I got in Zombie Sailor Retro Toys. I got in Slick.
Yep.
Hercules. Roma.
Very cool.
And then I know you guys were talking about this during the live. And I just want to show this because I know Calvin got one, I think. But this is what this looks like signed. Dual signed.
Oh wow.
The only one of us to have one completed is Brian.
So that's what that looks like, Calvin.
What a jerk.
And then I'll show my Charlotte stuff real quick. I got the Grappler,
Nice.
Eric Embry, Latin Heartthrob.
Hell yeah.
I got this signed by Jerry Lawler. I got this from Ben. But
I love it. I love
I like
that, man.
that.
I know you were kind of unhappy with the auto, man, but even right there,
No.
that looks sweet.
yeah, I know. I know. I shouldn't. But I'm upset about this one. Because, guys, if you can tell me what this is, I would love to hear it.
What the hell?
Sid. Psycho Sid,
That
baby.
is not Psycho Sid. Here,
That looks like soap.
I don't know what happened.
Soap
Soapy
Sid?
Sid,
Guys, look.
tilted up. There you go.
Oh.
Anyway, it's Psycho Sid. But,
He signed that like he had to go take a pee-pee,
Yeah.
like real quick.
and then I found these at the show.
Should have brought a
I
softball for him to sign.
I got the Steiner Bros.
Hell yeah.
And then I got the Smoking Guns.
Oh my
Really
god,
not.
you got Bart Gunn? That's rare as shit.
And the goat Billy
Well,
gun.
that was the one that we were concerned with, but it passed GSA. So, and then guys, I got a
Woo!
Grail. I'm gonna show this last, thanks to William.
Oh wow.
Hot Rod.
That's
Damn.
awesome.
Look at that.
Piper Pit.
Beautiful.
So that's all I got.
Gorgeous.
That's all I got. He says it like it wasn't enough. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
It's like, oh, I just had a few things.
Mr. Roger.
All right, so I got a few things from the show. So first off, my Jerry the King Lawler.
Oh yeah, that thing's beautiful.
Nice. I love that.
Then I got a
Wow, dude,
Yep.
you've been killing that. I remember when you started that.
Yep. Gorgeous.
Leaf Cassidy.
Nasty Boy, Psycho Sid, and the King Jerry Lawler on it.
Oh, I love it.
I
Nice
got the new
piece.
Baby Doll.
Baby doll ain't a baby doll no more, but I got a good auto.
And this is the one I was talking about with Greg Valentine.
Oh, wow.
That's a winner right there. I like that. We need to make a post about that on the page. That is sweet.
Yeah, whatever you want. Let Kev know. Me and Kev can get together and knock that out for you.
Yeah, man, that's sweet. That needs shared further past us.
And then this was the TRC World Class Championship Wrestling logo. I got Andrea the Lady Giant, which was Baby Doll back in the WCCW days. Kevin Von Erich, Doula the Butcher, Hollywood Jack Tatum, Al Perez, Missy Hyatt, and I think up at the top over here is Eric Embry and the Grappler.
Nice.
How
So I
did
got
Kevin
that.
Von Erich look? Pretty
He
good.
looked old. He looked old,
Yeah.
but I mean, for his
Good for-
age, he
yeah.
looks good. But yeah, you can tell his hearing's going. They had his handler had to talk pretty loud to let him know how to sign things and stuff like that. But yeah,
Okay.
you can tell obviously he's getting up there in age, but I mean, he was still looking good for his age.
He had
Very cool.
he had the longest line at the show above
I
anybody
bet.
else. Above anybody.
Yeah, above anybody.
Yep.
But that's all I got. I'm gonna hold off on the rest.
Very nice. Very cool. Manual.
All right, so I got this from William.
Nice. Yeah.
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 I got this beautiful piece from the great Ben.
Nice.
Oh, very nice.
Woo, Samoan SWAT team.
So I debated on buying it forever, and Ben was like, "You might as well just pull the trigger." So
Yep.
Might as
that's-
well.
so that's all I got. I didn't want to pull out anything else because, I wanted Kev to see some stuff too. So
Hell yeah. Very cool. All right, I think it's my turn now. I'm right in the middle. So I'm gonna go as fast as I possibly can. Huge shout out to Ben, who originally got this signed by Booker T for me. I was able to complete it with Nasty Boy Jerry Sags. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to pay as much as I did to have him sign this, but you know, he doesn't just claim to be a nasty boy; he lives the lifestyle. So, very cool though. I was glad to finish it. I love this. It's a personal collection piece. Super excited to have it. Up next for me, one of our awesome friends and members, Ray Hall, got this for me. I mentioned in one of the lives Ben had this, and man, I would love to have that. Ray Hall took it upon himself to buy this for me, have Ben bring it to me. Huge shout out to Ray. He's been with us since day one, since we started long ago, long before there was ever a TRC. So huge shout out to him. Thank you so much for this. Going in the personal collection, absolutely love it. I also got a Virgil, which, you know, for time constraint, I'm not going to show it, but Calvin White sent me a Virgil stuffed plushie. Super excited about that too. That's in the personal collection as well. I'm really excited about it. And then at the show, I was eyeballing this. I love this figure. I used to have this figure, got rid of it at one point, and I always wanted another one. I was at the show, I saw it. Brian and I were talking about it, and Brian helped me negotiate a better price on it. And you guys know what happens when we get new figures that need to go on the shelf, right? So you can look
man,
let it breathe.
You can look behind me and see
Look away, Roger.
where this baby's going. So, as you guys know, poor Roger.
Still hear it.
As you guys know, oh yeah, listen to that beautiful Terran footage. So we done ripped that bad boy out of the package. Super excited. Thanks, Brian, for helping me get the score on that. And super excited about that. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing him come out of the package so he could breathe. And that's all I'm going to show this week, guys.
Sweet. Calvin, you up next?
Yeah. So while Brian was showing original promos, I got this.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
I'm gonna one you up with this.
Woohoo!
Vader time.
Vader time.
And then I found this last weekend, and ain't but one thing to do.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
so vicious.
I love it.
breathe.
Let it breathe.
That's right.
But that's all for me.
Awesome.
Robert said, "Excellent, rip 'em, bro. Will."
Thank you.
He said, I think he said that a second ago.
King Phillip, what you got?
I'm a one and done type of guy. I got one. I got from Ben Bowman for one of my buddies for his wedding.
Nice.
Good steam.
Oh yeah, that's badass.
I love
Looks
it.
a whole lot better in person, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and it's numbered too.
Number
Dude, your buddy-
766 out of 2,000.
Dude, your buddy's gonna love that.
Yeah, he'll love it.
Them Cena autos are going to be going up real quick.
They
Absolutely.
already are. They already are, man. Trust me.
I'm glad I have two of them already.
So Phil, Phil, when Manuel gets married, don't forget he likes Nyla Rose stuff.
Yeah, I got him. Nyla Rose and Nia Jax both.
Hell yeah.
You
Dual signs.
just got to talk Ben out of getting it out of his personal collection.
That's right.
None of y'all will ever get an
He
invite.
keeps
so
it
don't
right
matter.
next to his favorite JBLs.
Ray Hall said he was
He said
he
we'll
was
never get
wanting
an
that
invite.
John Cena, but Phil wouldn't stop bidding them up, so he had to stop. So
I got
That's
two
how I felt
Cena
too.
autos a couple of years ago, and I'd never let them go.
yeah. Dr. Nick, what you got for show and tell?
All right, real quick. I've been going through my VHS and kind of organizing them. I really love the old school clamshells. So I've got the Country Boys,
Nice.
and then I've got Hulkamania 2, and I've showed these off before, but I can't. I just, these things are just so beautiful. These images are probably two of my favorites in my collection. The Seth
Nice.
and the Becky.
The man.
Like these, I absolutely love these type of edits. What do you call these again?
Spotlights.
Yes, the spotlight
Spotlights.
pictures are just so good. And
Yep, those are sweet.
I'm getting ready to hang up more of my autos, so I'm going to make these very prominent in the room.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure
But
if you go
that's-
back in the archive footage, Robert, you could find it, but I don't know of a way to pinpoint exactly when that happened. But that was a great moment.
Yep. Very cool.
Oh,
Nick,
wait,
very cool.
I love the
When,
spotlights, Nick. Those are my favorite types.
Oh yeah, they look
autographs
so
to get.
nice.
Yeah.
Ben, what do you got? Wrap us up on the show and tell.
Well, I left all the convention stuff at the house, my house, but
What are you in house number 2? You big baller?
no, at the house. I'm over at my parents' house. Actually,
GWC over here.
yeah, no. There it is. Now my
Oh,
daughter.
watch the camera. It's about to show the Nyla Rose collection on that back wall.
Yeah, hey, my daughter. We went out. I was gone, and then I was off work Monday. So me and my daughter, we went out shopping, and every time, you know how I've been showing here on the show that what we always look for is Wednesday Addams. Well, I was like, we ain't gonna find this. Well, we did, and at GameStop they had the new Wednesday Addams pop.
Oh, that's cool.
So got her the pop, and she said we hit the jackpot. So I did get this. Found this, and of course she likes to let them breathe too. So she's been playing with it. But
That's
I'll maybe next week because there was a fund that me and William had to actually do some research on, and then by next week too, I should have some more. Got some Grail magazines and posters showing up too.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Speaking of GameStop, I just got their credit card today. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but
that'd
hopefully
be
some
dangerous for me.
Hopefully some new wrestling pop figures come out so I can pick them up because
yeah, there's no good. There's no good. There's no good that comes from that. I can tell you.
Well, I spend money there anyways. I figured I'd funnel it through their card and get the extra points. You know.
I'm still going with there's no good from
Luger pop.
Yeah, it's coming out Monday.
Oh,
coming out
guys,
Monday from Amazon.
Guys, I forgot to show one thing. I got this at a local toy show, and I finally got my first Galoob.
Oh, very nice.
Wow.
Galoobs are underrated.
And not only that, it has the original belt. Those are always missing. That is cool.
Steal of a deal right there.
Thomas Glenn says, everyone in Charlotte, know you got one of the best tag teams in the business, the Jumping Bomb Angels.
It wasn't easy to find a lot of the talent that was supposed to be there, honestly. So I think there was a few people that missed some talents.
It's the same. It was the same place when we met Dusty that time together, right?
Yeah, but it was kind of a pain in the ass. There was 2 different rooms, and the other room was locked, and it wasn't nearly as convenient as I've seen it in the past. So, we went to the other
they
room.
told us the wrong times for our pro photo ops. I had it in a text. Then I kept having people come up to the table saying, "Yeah, it's this time." I'm like, "What?" So then I would have missed it by 20 minutes. So I'm glad they told me because I would have never known.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some things that could have improved for sure. But, I mean, you have that everywhere. My only question is, the name of the show was The Final Chapter. I'm just kind of curious if it really was the final chapter or not. So, kind of curious about that. But I think that's all we have this week. And, we all had a great time. And now we're back to reality. Guys, don't forget this week, we're not going to be live on Tuesday at 8 o'clock as planned at the moment. We'll be live Sunday night at 8 o'clock, Ben and I. And then, of course, we'll be back next week, Thursday night at 9 o'clock for Top Rope Talk as well. Back with our host, Kev Buckler, and a whole host of friends. Really looking forward to that. And, again, thank you, everybody, for showing everything tonight and turning up. And really glad everybody came in, and definitely looking forward to Sunday night. Sundays have been really great to us lately, and a lot of people have, requested that we do Sunday nights for a little while. And coming up with, full-time NFL season, we won't be able to stick with it, but we'll be able to do some more Sundays here and there. So, again, everybody, thank you guys so much. Really enjoyed spending time with you and talking to everybody. And anybody else got anything before we call it a night?
Thank you.
Yep, just thank you for coming in and supporting us.
Glad to
Awesome.
be back on for
Tell
another cameo, and I hope Kev feels better. He sounded like he's doing pretty terrible. So feel better, bud, and until next time.
Yep. Have a great night,
Appreciate
everybody.
your services, Roger. Appreciate your services, man.
Thanks, man. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.